Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. We have made it to the end of the road. But we still have that little small stretch of road left to cover. So let's get into it, shall we? Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strunk from QuickTime Reactions, and welcome to the 7th installment of my Mission Impossible rewatch and review series, where I'm going to be reviewing all 7 of the previous Mission Impossible films before we reach our final reckoning, or as I'm calling it in my head, the Any Stunt You Can Do, I Can Do Crazier tour for one Tom Cruise. And yes, we have reached the end of the road. You might even say we've reached a dead end. I tried to do a little bit of wordplay right there. But nonetheless, we are here to talk about the most recent film before Final Reckoning releases tomorrow, with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, or as it was originally called, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yes, they did label this in the beginning as a Part 1, and then the movie that's coming out this weekend was supposed to be its Part 2, but bit of bad box office. Well, not necessarily bad box office, just disappointing box office led them to change the title. And we'll talk a little bit more about that once we get into the review. But the story of this movie, Ethan and his IMF team are tasked with trying to find the keys that control a computer, a rogue AI system known as the Entity. But a variable ghost in the code from Ethan's past named Gabriel and his associates are also looking for the key to unlock this entity. So, will Ethan and his team be able to outsmart this AI program and maybe get one step ahead of it in order to get the key away from Gabriel? We are going to find out. This movie sees, of course, all of our favorites come back. Tom Cruise, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg, vingrhames, and even Henry Czerny making a return from the very first film, all the way back, I think in 1996, if I remember correctly. So it has been a while since he's been in this franchise. We have even more returning characters like Vanessa Kirby. She's also back in this, along with Henry Czerny. And we also have some new faces in the cast as well. We have Hayley Atwell, we have pomklementieff, and we also have Esai Morales as Gabriel. Pomklementieff plays Paris, who is Gabriel's sort of right-hand woman slash assassin, and Hayley Atwell plays. Let me see here. Oh my gosh, why? There we go. I saw it right there. Grace. Jesus. Why wasn't she listed first among the cast in the Google search? Don't understand why. But yes, Hayley Atwell is playing Grace. Writing the script for this movie is, of course, Mr. Christopher McQuarrie. But unlike the last film, in which he wrote it completely solo, he had some help with Eric Gendrison. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. And of course, Lauren Balfe returns once again to do the music for this movie. I really like how the movie starts out. We have Russians on this submarine, the Sevastopol, and they're reaching a point in the ocean known as Dead Reckoning, which hence the title of the film. And they have the entity on board this submarine, and the entity tricks the submarine to think that there is actually an enemy craft along the way, so they fire missiles at it to sink it. Turns out there's nothing there, and the missiles come right back towards the sub and sink it. So the entity knew that it would be buried in a remote place, knowing that nobody would be able to get it. I find that to be very smart. But also, in this opening, it shows that the humans are actually, and our IMF team are actually very, very smart. After Ethan gets his mission, he breaks into a security meeting held by Carrie Elwes's character. I did not expect Carrie Elwes to be in this movie, nor did I expect the actor who played Peter in the two previous Deadpool films. I did not expect him. Rob Delaney, didn't expect him to be in this movie either. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool that I was able to recognize like a couple people in the movie. And I love the scene between Ethan and Kittredge in what is essentially, basically Ethan gassed out the meeting. Everybody would pass out except for Kittredge and him, and they just have this conversation about the entity. And I thought it was really, really good. Shot with some Dutch angles, obviously very reminiscent of the first film, but also probably because of the fact that this was shot during the pandemic. And if you remember, during the news, like you remember the outburst that Tom Cruise had on set, came from this film, this very film right here. So, just a little fun fact about the movie. But the chemistry between the cast is, again, absolutely A1. There's not a weak link in this chain. Like, the core four of Cruise, Pegg, Ferguson, and Rames, absolutely awesome. Our new characters that slot in, Atwell's Grace, Clementieff's Paris, Morales as Gabriel, and even with, our returning characters like Zerny as Kittredge and Vanessa Kirby, who comes back as White Widow, effortlessly fit into everything that is going on in this story. Absolutely amazing. I will say, like, when this movie came out, obviously the comparisons were to the previous film, Fallout, which many people hailed to be as like one of the best action movies ever made, and many people were let down by this film because, well, one, it was a part one, and two, they didn't think it was quite as good as Fallout. And having watched it again, because when I first watched it, this was the first Mission Impossible film that I saw in theaters. So, completely went into this blank, and I absolutely loved it. And while I still loved it after watching it again, I can understand people's complaints about it, but this is still a really fun time to watch. It's still really good, and I think the themes of, AI taking over the world, like, that's the most realistic, and I put it in quotes because, like, nuclear threat, viruses, all that sort of stuff. That's realistic. That can happen in our world, but AI is slowly taking over our world right now. Like, we have trouble discerning like what is AI and what isn't. So, it's something that's, very topical. And, I just thought that was really, really interesting of a topic that Mission Impossible would tackle, and I really, really appreciate that fact. Um, the stunts in this are absolutely insane, from an amazing car chase through Italy to um, the fight on top of the train between Gabriel and Ethan. But of course, the big one that I think everyone is going to remember is when Cruise rode a FMX bike, I should say motorbike, um, on a ramp off of it and did a base jump into basically a rock bowl, essentially, and absolutely insane. Cannot believe that he was able to do that practically, and having rehearsed it so much and having it drilled into his body is absolutely insane. But that's not the one that's actually my favorite. It's the one at the very end with, and I'm combining both of these together. It is the the train crash, where they actually built their own train so that they can crash it, which I find absolutely amazing that they would go through all that effort to um, build their own train so that they can crash it just for the sake of it being a practical shot. Absolutely love that. And then afterwards, you have the rush for Grace and Ethan to try and get to a safe car without that car subsequently falling into the river. Absolutely amazing sequence that's really built on tension, and if they are going to actually make it to the next car before that for the car that they're in falls into the river. Absolutely amazing stuff, and I think it's probably one of the better um, action set pieces in Mission Impossible, in my opinion. It's really, really good. Um, in terms of the movie's financial success, um, and I only bring this up because, um, I said in the beginning that this was originally titled Dead Reckoning Part 1. Well, the movie only made 571.1 million worldwide. Now, granted, that did make it the 10th highest grossing film of 2023 when it came out, but it was still considered a disappointment, considering that it also had an estimated budget of almost $300 million. Now, granted, they did shoot this during the pandemic, so that also probably didn't help with costs. But to not even double your money on a franchise that has been pretty solidly bankable, I probably was a reason why they changed it from Dead Reckoning Part 1 to just Dead Reckoning when it went to streaming later on. Because I think many people saw, oh, Part 1, I'll just wait until Part 2 comes out, and then I can watch both back to back and not have to worry about a thing. So I think with them changing the name, it's like, oh, maybe I did miss out on a final or Mission Impossible film. But yeah, Mission Impossible film. I don't know why I'm thinking Final Destination. But yeah, I would say that this is, again, I do agree with the fact that it is not on the level of Fallout, but at the same time, it really doesn't need to be. Um, because I always go into movies, especially movies that are in like franchises, especially with these genre films like, Mission Impossible or the MCU. It's like, yes, I would like them to connect in some way, but I would also like to see, the movie stand on its own two legs and see where it goes from there. And I think this does a really good job. Cast cast chemistry really really good. Writing is also really really good. I liked the story that they crafted in this movie. The direction by McQuarrie is really awesome, and the stunts once again absolutely insane. Um, it's very interesting that they were very bold in making this finale to this franchise a two-parter, but you know that's just how many things go. Hunger Games broke off the last book into two parts. So did Harry Potter, and so that just seems to be the norm. But I really dug this movie. In terms of it in my rankings, I would have to say it is Fallout 4, Dead Reckoning, Rogue Nation, 3, 1, 2. So, in terms of numbers, 6, 4, 7, 5, 3, 1, 2. I think that is my official ranking in terms of like where I fall with these movies. But yeah, 7 is a really, really good time. Um, I think it is a worthy follow up to Fallout, and I had a really fun time watching it in theaters and then rewatching it again for this series. And it was just a really, really fun time watching this. But yep, that is pretty much it. We have made it down this long, windy, and sometimes stunt filled road to our final reckoning. But the final reckoning is upon us. And be sure to look out for that review on my channel relatively soon. But until then, guys, be safe out there. And remember, if somebody tells you that you have to get onto a moving train, be sure that you have a parachute and a motorbike, because you never know when you need to ride up a mountain to jump off of it and pull your parachute in order to land on that train while it is moving, mind you. Always have that in your mind. And I will see you guys for your final reckoning.